It's the first time your national team plays in Germany, the country which has such a massive Turkish diaspora, and the support of the Turkish fans has been one of the biggest, one of the most colorful during the tournament. What does it mean for you to play on the pitch where most of the stands are colored in red, and fans are so supportive here in Germany, both coming from Turkey, but also those who live here of Turkish roots?
Tabii bizim için çok önemli taraftarlarımızın
Well, of
desteği.
course, it's very important
İlk
for us to
maçta
have the
bunu
support of
gayet
our
iyi
fans,
hissettik.
and in the
Sanki
first
ikinci
match we
maçta
felt that
biraz
to the
daha
fullest.
durgundu
In
gibiydi
the second
taraftarlar.
game, maybe they were
Onlar
a bit
sahada
more,
biz
a bit
düştüğümüzde
calmer, if you
bizi
will,
yukarı
and
çıkaracak,
then when we were
çıkarmaları
down,
gerekiyor. İlk
they need
maçta
to pick
çok
us up.
desteklerini hissettik. İkinci
In the
maçta
first
biraz daha
game, we
durgundu.
really did feel their support. In the
İnşallah
second game,
yarın
they were a bit
daha da bizi
calmer,
yükseltirler.
but hopefully tomorrow they will bring us higher.
Next question, do we have Anadolu Agency in the room? Here, next question. Second row, please.
Anadolu Ajansı Hilmi Sever. İrfan yarın için başarılar.
Anadolu Agency, Hilmi Sever, Irfan, good luck for tomorrow. We are curious about your situation because in the first two games you did not play, you were injured. What's your state tomorrow? Are you ready to play and go on the pitch tomorrow? Well, I feel good at the moment. I've been working with the team for the past 3 days, and before that I had some personal training done, so I did not really stop training. But of course, playing 90 minutes isn't something I can pull off tomorrow. Maybe once we are out of the group, I will get back to 90-minute full game form, and if the coach puts me in 15-20 minutes, I don't know how long that will be, but I feel good.
Next question. Here, third row here, please.
Emre Kaplan, A-Spor, İrfan. Öncelikle hem geçmiş olsun
Emre Kaplan from A-Spor. Irfan, well, I'm sorry for the loss, but good luck for the next game. You are one of the more experienced players of the team. You played in the last tournament, and in that tournament we lost against Italy, and the feeling in general was quite negative after that. And then after the loss against Portugal, again, the public opinion sort of shifted and turned against you. So if you compare the two tournaments, and if you were to give us a summary of what you have been experiencing, what would you say? Well, I think we exaggerate things. We won the first game, we got 3 points. These things happen. Second game against Portugal, we lost the game. But now everything is once again in our hands. In the previous tournament, we lost the first game. Of course, that demoralized us, and the game was 3-0 in the first game. But here we won the first game, so it is quite an advantage for us. So everything again is in our hands. Even if we get 1 point, we might clear the group, and I believe in the team. We will make our way through.
Thank you. Next question will be in the first row here. Yes, first row. Yes. Thank you.
TV Spor Çiğdem Günal.
TV Sport Çiğdem Günal. Well, good luck Irfan Can for the game. In Euro 2020, one of the best moments was the moment you scored the only goal of the tournament. And by the time 2024 is over, what would you like people to remember from you? We have your family members outside waiting here who told me to pass on the message that they wish that you score. Well, thank you, first of all. My goal is to score in this tournament as well, and if I get time on the pitch, I will do my best to do that. Unfortunately, I had an injury, and I would have wanted to play in the first 2 games. I think that's it. I hope I score in this tournament too.
Next question here, the fourth row in the center, please.
Öncelikle başarılar İrfan Can.
Well, first of all, good luck, Irfan Can. We all hope that you'll get a good result in the game against Czechia. But there were some incidents in the team which were covered in the media. People had their say on these. I wonder what the atmosphere is like in the team. Maybe you can start by giving us an understanding as to what's happening on the inside.
burada
Well,
şunu da söyleyeyim.
things are
Sakatlandığımda
great within the
hocayla,
team.
doktorla bir
When I
toplantı
got
yaptık.
injured, I got
Ve
together with the coach and
ben bu
with
takıma
the
güvendiğimi
team
söyledim
physician,
hocaya. Burada
and I
kalmak
told them I
istediğimi,
have full
oynasam da
confidence in the
oynamasam da
team that
burada
I
kalmak
wanted to
istiyorum.
stay here whether I
Takıma
would get to
destek
play or
sağlamak
not,
istiyorum diye konuşmuştuk
because
hocayla.
I wanted
Hoca
to
da sağ
be there to
olsun
support the
bana
team, and
güvendiğini
coach
gösterdi ve öyle bir karar
showed that
aldık.
he also has
Yani
confidence in me, and
aslında
that's
bu
the
sosyal
decision we
medyada
took.
çıkan olaylar
Well,
yani bizi güldürüyor
what
aslında. Yani
happens in
içeride bir
social
şey
media, I
yokken
mean, we just
kendi
laugh at it
kendimize
because most of the
yani
time there's nothing happening
değişik şeyler
within
yaşanıyor.
inside the
Biz de
team,
anlam
if you will.
veremiyoruz.
But
Yani içeride her
we
şey şu an
we have a
yolunda.
hard time understanding what's happening on social
Bizi
media.
etkilemiyor
Otherwise,
açıkçası.
within the team, everything is good.
Şu an her
We're
şey
not being
yolunda.
impacted
Aslında
by
bu olaylar
what
bizi daha
people
da
say
hırslandırıyor diye
online,
söyleyebilirim yani.
and quite on the contrary, actually,
Thank you.
we
Next
are
question
energized.
at the back there. Thank you.
Özkan Öztürk, TRT Spor. Hocamıza öncelikle
Özkan
soru
Öztürk,
yöneltmek
TRT
istiyorum.
Sport.
Yarınki
Question to the
mücadelede
coach,
başarılar. Bu
if I
arada
can.
sevgili İrfan, sana
Good
da
luck in
geçmiş olsun.
tomorrow's
Tekrar
game.
hoş
By the way,
geldin milli
Irfan,
takıma.
I
Şunu
wish you a
sormak
speedy
istiyorum.
recovery and
Üçlü
welcome back to
savunma
the
oynayan
national team.
takımlara
So the
karşı
question
çok fazla
is, against
pozisyon
teams
bulduk.
who
Polonya
play
maçının
a
ikinci
defense
yarısı,
with three
Gürcistan
players, we
mücadelesi. İşte
had a lot of
Portekiz'de mesela
positions
Çekya
in
karşısında
the game
üçlü
against Georgia,
başladı
for instance,
ama
or
bize karşı dörtlü oynayıp kalabalık orta
Portugal
sahayla bizi
started with
bozdular.
a line of
Yarın
three players in
Çekya
defense against
üçlü
Czechia,
oynayacak
but they did
muhtemelen.
something
Bundan
else
önceki
against
iki
us. Now
karşılaşmada
tomorrow,
bu
Czechia
şekilde
will play
oynadılar. Yarın da
a
benzer
defensive
tablo
line of
görebilecek
three
miyiz
people,
oyuncularımızdan,
three players.
takımımızdan? Teşekkürler.
Will we see a similar performance from our players in tomorrow's game? Thank you.
Excuse me, if coach, if you don't mind, maybe you want to answer now or
Okay,
later on.
can answer. Sì, giocano sicuramente con una difesa a 3, ormai
Yes, they certainly will play with a back three.
in questo modo ultimamente.
We've come up against a number of opposition sides with a back three recently, even though they do have different characteristics. We have our method, our way of attacking and defending, and I really will believe that there'll be an edge to that because we've got used to that in recent times.
Thank you. Now, next question to the player, please. Here, please, on the side.
Başarılar öncelikle Senat Ok Milliyet Gazetesi.
Well, first off, good luck.
Kanat oyuncusu olarak mı düşüneceğiz? Çünkü
I'm from newspaper Milliyet. Well, Irfan Can, are you a flank player now? Because both when you play for your club Fenerbahçe or on the national team, we ask ourselves the question to know why you don't go into the center. How do you define yourself? Do you see yourself as a flank player now, or will you shift towards the middle? How do you see yourself? Thank you. Well, this is something I've answered before. For the past 3 years, I've been playing on the flank, and I am used to doing so, by the way. But I also like playing in the midfield. Well, whatever the coach tells me, I'll just follow, and I'll do my best. I used to be a very good player in the flank a couple of years ago, and now in the midfield, I did the same, but now back to flank, performing to my capabilities. So depending on what the team needs and what the coach decides, I'll do my best.
Thank you. Two last questions for the player. Your third row here, towards the center.
Bugün antrenmanda orta sahada görev verdik İrfan'a.
Well, today Irfan played in the midfield. Sefakan Öztürk is my name. My question will be to the player, to Irfan Can. Well, you are one of the most important players of the national team, and same applies to your club, Fenerbahçe, so you are an experienced player. And you talk about the atmosphere within the team, that everything is positive, but on social media, or in mainstream media, we have seen people divided along club lines. So if you were to send a message to Fenerbahçe supporters, what would you say? Well, within the team, we do have a great atmosphere, and we try to demonstrate that every single time, whether players are from Galatasaray, Beşiktaş, Trabzonspor, or others. We're all very good friends. We are united under the national flag. I think those divisions, we should just let them go. That's it.
Thank you. And the last question for the player, please. Yes, towards the back.
Fransa'yı mı Hollanda'yı mı tercih edersin?
Do you want to have France or the Netherlands as your opponent? Well, both are great teams, but if I get to pick, I would pick playing against the Netherlands. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Irfan Can. Now we move to the questions for the head coach. So the first question would go to the Anadolu agency, please. So the second row on this side.
Merhaba, Anadolu Ajansı İlmi Sever. Tabii ki
Hello,
öncelikle hem
Anadolu
bir kısa
Agency,
bir maç
Hilmi
değerlendirmesi
Sever.
isteyeceğiz hem de
Well,
bu az önce
we will
İrfan bizi
ask for a brief
etkilemedi dedi ama
match
sosyal
assessment,
medyada
and also Irfan said
konuşulanlar
that
sizi
they're
ne
not
kadar
being
etkiliyor onu
impacted, but
soralım bir
whatever
koç olarak. Çünkü
people
en
are
çok
saying on
imza attığı
social
futbol
media, how much are you
isimlerinden
impacted
birisiniz
by
ama
that
bir
as the
gerçekliği
coach?
olmadığını söyledi
Because
İrfan
you
ama
are the
yine de sizden
target of
öğrenmek istiyorum.
criticism online. Irfan said that they're not affected. What do you think?
Allora, io dicevo prima e vorrei che anche i calciatori avessero il mio stato d'animo.
First and foremost, I'd like the players to share my mindset. I have read that a player who's been in the national team for 12 or 13 years, like Tosun, who hasn't played in this tournament until today, has said that this is the greatest squad that he's been involved in the last 12 or 13 years. That's our response to that. There will always be criticism. There will be fair criticism. Personally, I accept that. And it also gives me pause to thought. There's also unfair criticism, and that entertains me and that motivates me. So why are there some unfair criticism? Why do people want to cause an issue? There are a whole host of possible reasons that you're probably more familiar with than I am. We are united. We won't let that distract us. We're very motivated. Our fate is in our own hands, as Irfan has said. It comes down to us because we are not reliant on a result from a third party. It's only our match which matters. So we are focused on responding on the pitch as we have done over the last 10 months. I don't want to recall all of the number of records that we've managed to secure and these players have done over the last 10 months. They need to be supported.
Next question, last row, please.
Turkey national team hasn't been in the knockout stages since Euro 2008. Can you please describe the level of pressure you are under ahead of this final group game? Thank you.
Io personalmente sono sotto pressione da 17, anzi da quando ero più piccolo, sono più di 30 anni che sono sotto pressione.
It's more than 30 years now that I've been under pressure. Pressure is part and parcel of our job, and you need to know how to withstand and deal with pressure. It's positive pressure because we're competing for a very positive achievement. When I took charge of the Turkey national team, if I was fearful of not qualifying for the competition, not only did we actually qualify with a match to spare, but we also qualified as top of our group. We've come here and our aim was to make it through to the knockout stage. That was our primary goal. We won our first game, and Turkey had never done so previously. Tomorrow we have an important opportunity. We're on course with our objectives. It depends on us. We're positive. We're ready to battle. And I really believe that our fans, our genuine fans, which is 99.9% of the fan base, will be with us, and they'll support us from the first whistle until the last.
Vorrei ricordare ai critici che questa è la nostra nazione.
I'd like to remind the critics that this is our country, it's not someone else's country. If you love your country, support this country as much as you can. There are no other national teams. This is our national team. This is the team that represents Turkey. These lads have really put a smile on our face in recent times. We need support.
E penso anche che i ragazzi lo meritano per quanto hanno fatto sul campo.
And I think the lads deserve that support based on what they've achieved on the pitch.
The coach also added that we will fight until the last whistle.
Thank you. Next question, please. Here, the third row.
Aydınlık Gazetesi Burak Özcan.
Aydınlık newspaper, my name is Burak Özcan. Coach, we are curious about Arda Güler. Is he suffering from an injury? Will he be on the pitch at his 100% tomorrow? Thank you.
Ok, risolviamo ancora anche quest'altra diatriba che creata.
Okay, let's get to the bottom of this other diatribe which has been specifically created. He is not able to withstand a significant portion of playing time. That means that he wasn't able to start the last game. I didn't decide that. The medical staff and the player himself decided that. So he could have played X number of minutes without running a risk, and that's ultimately the amount of time that he played. But the following day, and this famous video that came out, in agreement with the medical staff and the player himself, he said that he also couldn't withstand sprints over a certain amount of time, just as our fitness work requires. So, when there came a time when he actually realized that he couldn't withstand that exercise in order to avoid unnecessary risks, he actually did his programmed training session. He's been training for the last 2 days. He's available for selection, and if he doesn't play, it will be footballing reasons behind that, and I will hold my hands up for that. He didn't play in the last game. He didn't start the last game, not because of footballing reasons.
Yani ek olarak da duyulmadı çünkü. Son maçta da doktorumuz, sağlık ekibimiz ve
In
futbolcu
addition, in the last game, our doctor, our medical team, and the player came together to make that decision to not start the game.
Next question, first row on this side, please.
Çiğdem Günal, TV Bu Spor. Başarılar diliyorum hocam öncelikle.
Çiğdem Günal, TV Bu Sport. Good luck for the game, coach. First off, while playing against Portugal, we were behind, but you chose not to have a center forward, and people criticized that decision. You have 3 center forwards in your roster, and under what circumstances would you prefer to have a center forward? The public opinion is curious. Thank you.
Questa è una domanda intelligente.
This is an intelligent question. It's important to have the right shape and balance. I think more than anything, this team needs balance. And we've had that without having necessarily a target man when I talk about a static, classic, traditional centre forward. When do I think we can actually introduce a centre forward with a certain skill set? When we actually have the game by the scruff of the neck, we have sustained spells of possession in the last third of the opposition half.
Çeviriyek'te ne zaman forvetli bir oyun göreceğiniz sorusuna.
So the question was, when will we see a team with a center forwards? The answer was, well, it is in our hands. The game is in our hands, and we put pressure on the opponent in the last 30 meters. When we need those skills, of course, our strikers will be on the pitch.
Next question, third row in the center.
Però voglio sempre ricordare che noi siamo tra le squadre più offensive del torneo.
But I'd like to remind you that we're one of the most attacking teams in the tournament. We have 2 wide players who are more attacking than defensive. We've got the 2 forwards who aren't necessarily forwards, but they're still more attacking players than defensive players. And we have more attacking fullbacks than they are defensive fullbacks.
Yani bizim kullandığımız çeviriyekte kullandığımız forvetlere bakıldığında da onlar da çok
When you look at the strikers we use, they are very offensive oriented players, just a reminder. And also on the flanks, we have a team structure that is quite on the offensive side of things rather than defensive. Ferhat Kızıltaş, Turkey newspaper. Good luck for tomorrow. The goalkeeper selection in the game against Portugal was criticized because Altay Bayındır did not get a lot of playing time with Manchester United, and Uğurcan Çakır, another goalkeeper, had a higher match count. So when you made the call, did you think that Altan Bayındır was in better physical shape than the alternative, and will we see a different goalie decision for tomorrow's game?
Io non vorrei fare esempi antipatici, ma in squadra abbiamo dei giocatori che hanno avuto meno minutaggio.
We have certain players as part of our squad that have played fewer minutes compared with some people that haven't been called up. So if that goes for the goalkeepers, it goes for everyone.
Antipatik bir cevap vermek istemiyorum ama daha az dakika almış olan
Well,
futbolcularımız mevcut kadroda.
there are players with fewer minutes in our roster, so this should apply to everyone then.
In Galles è subentrato, ha fatto un'ottima partita in Germania.
He came on against Wales, he played very well against Germany, he started the game, he played very well against Italy. I've got 3 excellent goalkeepers. And I choose the team that I pick. One player will be happy and two will be very upset. And this is a positive problem. This is good competition for places.
Çevirerek bizim 3 tane harika kalecimiz var.
We have three excellent goalkeepers. When we pick one, the two others will be sad, of course, but that's a great problem to have. We really have three goalies who inspire confidence in us.
Thank you. Next question, third row on the left.
Hello, Mr. Montella. Nuno Travassos, Bola, Portugal. I will do the question in English. Orkun Kokshu told our newspaper a few days ago that he feels that he can play better and he wants to show the level he played at Feyenoord. You obviously saw Orkun Kokshu games last season. What do you think he has to do to recover that level? Is something about the position he plays in the field? Thank you.
Con lui lui è un calciatore più offensivo che difensivo.
He's a more attacking than defensive player. I've tracked him at his club and I watched him in the past when he played in the Netherlands as well. He's played 1.5 very good matches because he picked up a knock and he had to be taken off. But I think he's a player who can find space. He can play as part of that double pivot, that two-man midfield, but it depends on what sort of midfield he has alongside him. And he can play as he is at the moment with us as a second striker.
Forvet arkası olarak da oynayabiliyor.
Thank you. Next question. Here on third row on the side, please.
Emre Tanrıver, GZT Spor. İlk iki maçta
Emre Tanrıver, GZT Sport. In the first two games, there were big mistakes in the defense. So in training sessions following those games, did you focus specifically on defense and did you get together with the defensive players specifically? Thank you.
Allora, voi giustamente vi focalizzate sugli errori difensivi che ci sono stati, sono evidenti, abbiamo corretti.
You naturally stress the defensive mistakes, but we've also actually taken preventative measures to avoid them from repeating them. But the first line of defense are those four forward players. If those first forward players actually defend well, then the defenders actually have an easier life because of it.
Çevirerek 4 ofansif oyuncumuzun hani topsuz olduğumuz dönemlerde
So when you have four offensive players and you don't have the ball in your possession, if they do a good job defending, then our defensive players, our defensive line and midfield will all have an easier time to do what they need to do. But as I said, we've seen all those mistakes and these are areas on which we have worked previously, so we have taken corrective measures.
İyi akşamlar, yarın için başarılar. Rakibimiz 2 tane maç oynadı.
Evening, good luck for tomorrow. Our opponents played 2 games in 2 different formations, forward formations. Now, the one game against Portugal, they did not want to lose, and the other game, they had to win against Georgia. In the first game, they were quite under pressure in the last bit, and in the second game, they left a lot of spaces open to the opponents. So, tomorrow they will have to win. So, is your strategy going into the game to keep your defense striking weapons until the last minute?
No, noi dobbiamo fare la nostra partita, dobbiamo pensare di
giocare. No, we need to play our game. We need to try and go out there to win the match. We need to prepare to try and win the game. We mustn't get hung up on permutations, never. We know that their game plan during the match could alter over the course of the match. They might try and force things in the last 20 minutes or so, or they might actually try and decide to force things right from the first whistle and running a few more risks. We are ready with both one system and then going gung-ho and ultra-offensive, both from the first whistle, and we hope that it might even come closer to the end. That means that we're on top and leading the game.
çevirerek rakibimiz belki hocanın dediği gibi son dakikalara da
As the
saklayabilir
coach
kendi
said,
silahlarını ama bizim
our
her türlü
opponent might
stratejimiz ve
try to
belirli bir
preserve their
oyun
striking
tarzımız
weapons
var.
until the last minute, but
Hem
we have a
maçın
certain
başından
strategy
itibaren hem de
and
sonuna kadar biz
play
avantajlıyız.
characteristic, but we have the advantage from the first whistle
Okay,
until
two last
the
questions
last.
from the room. Here, please, front row on the side.
Bol şans öncelikle. Portekiz maçı
Well,
2-0
first off,
olduktan
good
sonra
luck.
maç bitti
After
gibi bir
in the
hava
game against
esti.
Portugal, after the second goal was
Hiçbir reaksiyon
scored, it was
veremememizin
almost the
temel
game was
sebebiyle alakalı bir
over.
birçok eleştiri oldu. Sayın Vincenzo
I'm sure
Montella bu
you were
eleştirileri duydu mu?
criticized as to the reasons why the
Doğal
team
olarak buradan
was not able to
kendisine
react
olumlu
after the
anlamda
second
aldığı
goal.
eleştiriler nedir?
Did Coach
Maçın analizini
Montella hear
yaptı.
any of that
2-0'dan
criticism,
sonra
and what
maçın
are some of the
bizim
lessons
adımıza
you
bitmiş
draw from
olmasıyla
that?
alakalı
Once you analyze the
teknik ve
game,
taktiksel hatalar vardır. Ertesi sabah
are
bu
there or were there
izlediğimde bir
technical or
öz eleştiri yaptım.
tactical
Teşekkür ederim.
mistakes that explain why we lost the game? So did you sit down and self-assess after the game?
In
Thank
Turchia
you.
lo dico spesso, io ho bisogno di sapere solo le critiche positive e non le critiche cattive o negative.
I only need to hear the positive criticism as opposed to the negative criticism. I don't need to because I can see the mistakes and the errors myself.
Noi abbiamo fatto dopo il secondo gol, sicuramente è stato un momento molto
After the
difficile per la
second
squadra,
goal, it was very tough for the team.
il calcio succede,
The goal came about from nowhere. These things happen in football.
Poi dopo noi
And naturally, our motivation dropped off at that
abbiamo fatto
time.
una partita che dovevamo fare, abbiamo tirato
But we played the game we needed to.
come loro in porta, loro 12 mi sembra, noi 11.
We took shots on goal. They had 12 shots on goal. We had 11. They hit the target 3 times. We hit the target 3 times.
Stiamo parlando di una squadra
We had 10 corners to their 1. We're talking about top-class players. These guys are really used to playing at the top, the highest level every 3 days, 3 games a week, matches such as these. So the difference was that they were able to take their chances. They were clinical. We weren't because we had the similar amount of chances ultimately.
Başta çeviriye ek söylüyorum. İlk başta hocanın dediği de
To add to the interpretation,
abiye de sürekli söylüyor. Bana sürekli pozitif eleştirilerle gel. Onlara ihtiyacım var çünkü zaten
what the coach always says is we need positive criticism because negative criticism, ill-intentioned criticism isn't something we are fond of hearing, so we don't want to hear that.
The last question from the room, please. Thank you. First row here, please. Center.
Başarılar diliyoruz yarınki maçla ilgili. Süleyman Durak, ben
Good luck for
Kocaeli'den.
tomorrow's game. My name is
Türkiye'deki
Süleyman.
birçok
I'm from
futbol sever
Kocaeli.
en iyi üçüncülükle
Many
ilgili
football
hesaplar
fans
yapıyor.
in
Sizin
Turkey
düşünceniz nedir?
are
Sorun olmadan
doing all sorts
çıkabilecek
of
miyiz?
calculations. Worst case scenario, will we be the third place? Will we exit the group? What do you think?
No, ma noi dobbiamo come pensare alla nostra partita, abbiamo un vantaggio, dipende da
No,
noi.
we need to think about our game. We have an advantage. It comes down to us. We can draw the game. That's all that matters. Nothing else matters. We're well aware of the country's support. It gives us strength and motivation. We need to go into the game with cool heads, lots of belief, and that's the approach we need to take.
Thank you very much. This was the last media activity of the day. We'll see you tomorrow for the match. Thank you.
Thank you.